Currystone Design Prize is a wonderful endeavor that attempts to reach out around the world at a global scale to bring the design community closer to the global community, to address key issues where design can have a role in improving people's lives around the world. People who typically don't have access to design sensibilities, to design skills, to design professionals. It's a whole new paradigm for where the designer can fit in a broader idea of the world confronting all of the issues that involve it today. The mission statement really says it all. The Currystone Design Prize honors an individual or group for developing and implementing a visionary design innovation. These emerging projects address critical issues such as access to clean air, food and water, shelter, healthcare, energy, education, social justice, and the promotion of peace. Winning projects engage communities at the fulcrum of change, raising awareness, empowering individuals, and fostering collective revitalization. We have 3 finalists, and as Cliff said, they exist at a number of different scales. The first is for an inspiring young man named Rob Hopkins, who came up with the idea of the Transition Network. And this is using small-scale community organizing to bring people together in communities all across the world to address the issue of climate change and peak oil. What is unusual about this movement is that it's not a top-down movement. It's not Rob making up, setting the parameters by which it operates. It's each community operating on its own, coming up with its own paradigms and ways of addressing how it is that they can best go about working in a local capacity to address these global issues. Some even come up with their own currency. One town where you are rewarded for shopping locally so that we don't get into the issues of transportation and other kinds of costs that are so energy intensive. All kinds of issues that deal with long-term energy, reforestation, dealing with carbon emissions, all of these kinds of things. In a very short period of time, this movement has grown to over 200 cities. There are somewhere between a dozen and 20 of them in the United States. One in Kentucky, Berea, Kentucky, is one of those, dealing with what it is that they can do locally on their own as a small-scale movement from the bottom up to address these issues. Rob has published a book, the Transition Handbook, that I would recommend to all of you. And he has, I think, just come tonight from the first publication presentation of a new book that he has made. We honor Rob Hopkins as one of the 2009 Currystone Design Prize finalists. Rob, congratulations. And if you can hear me, Rob, I would ask you to speak up.
Transition is really about what harnessing engaged optimism looks like, and what happens when communities take control of their responses to peak oil and climate change. And I think as much as anything, really, it's about telling new stories about what the future could be like, that actually there's a lot of fear around climate change and around the end of the age of cheap oil, but also if we can tell the right stories and get people to see beyond it, there's the potential, I think, for an economic and social and cultural renaissance, the likes of which we've never dreamt. And that's really what transition initiatives around the world are harnessing, and it's an exhilarating thing to be a part of. And I thank you very much for recognizing the work that we're doing this evening.
Anna Heringer, Austrian architect who started traveling as a student, really, to Bangladesh, getting involved with local, small agrarian communities, farming communities there, and beginning to work with them, using design as a way of bringing the community together to honor their own local building traditions and to make some really extraordinary buildings. Not trying to replicate what the West does as a way of advancing, but using the local craft, the local traditions, local materials, local labor as a way of building community in a truly extraordinary way. And as a student, she was doing this. A remarkable set of buildings. She's now teaching at an architecture school in Austria, finishing her doctorate as well. But some truly extraordinary work as she has continued to work in these communities across Bangladesh, using local materials, achieving what she can out of the labor and the craft of the local peoples to try and make the most of these things. It's remarkable, I think, for somebody this young to be so accomplished as a designer. It's wonderful as well that she's been recognized already in a number of different venues for this work. The Arc Prix of 2 years ago, the international student competition, she won. She won the Aga Khan Award for Architecture from the Aga Khan Foundation last year, and we are quite thrilled to have her recognized as a finalist for the 2009 Curry Stone Design Prize as well. And Anna, if you can hear me, I would ask you perhaps to say a few words to the crowd.
My motivation for Bangladesh, for my work in Bangladesh, was to really motivate the people to believe in their own potentials, because I think they have fantastic potentials, and I think development always starts if you discover the love to something again. And I think the local materials have been very much neglected, and new materials like steel or concrete have become very fashionable, but they are of course not as sustainable as earth and bamboo. And I'm really trying to motivate the people to develop their own local traditional building materials and to make real contemporary architecture again and a very local identity, because I think this is depending on self-confidence, and self-confidence is the basis of development, and do this through architecture.
And our last finalist, and in fact the winner of the 2009 Curry Stone Design Prize, is a pair of individuals, the former mayor of the Colombian city of Medellín and his chief urban planner, Sergio Fajardo and Alejandro Echeverri. Sergio was elected mayor about 6 years ago, and working with Alejandro, they implemented a series of public work projects, and in the words of the mayor at the time, it was to build the most beautiful buildings in the poorest neighborhoods, taking a city that was considered among the most dangerous in the world, neighborhoods that one was simply afraid to go into, and making it a place of tourism. The murder rate was cut by over 90% in a very short period of time, as a whole series of notable architects came in to build libraries, other cultural facilities, new public areas, public spaces, roadways to connect people, aerial tramways that would take further disconnected neighborhoods that had no real engagement with the rest of the city and bring them closer together. It was an ambitious agenda, incredibly ambitious agenda. A lot was done in a very short period of time, but the rewards were immediate, very meaningful, and gave a whole new sense in a very short period of time to a beleaguered city, making it really something to look forward as a paradigm for what cities can do in the world today. This is one of my favorites, a wonderful part of a botanical garden for orchids, just an extraordinary pavilion, I think, that talks about the beauty of architecture serving all the people in this wonderful city. So congratulations to Sergio and Alejandro, and we will, let's see if we can get them, see if any of the sound's going to work. They're the ones we've had the most trouble with today, but Alejandro, if you can hear me, please, Sergio as well, please at least wave to us. If you can talk, please try.
Thank you. We lead a team of architects and urbanists, and we define the concept of our work, urbanismo social. Arquitectura y urbanismo as one of the main tools to foster a positive transformation in the city and to make our people believe in a possible change. The tale of Medellín is a tale of two cities, the formal and consolidated city along the river and the informal city on the hillsides. Our goal is to connect them. We conceive design in multiple scales. Architecture value as understanding that the city is a complex design problem. A design problem for the people we can touch, for the real ones. Architecture is done walking the streets. We are just starting our work to recover our city. It will be a long journey, complex and beautiful. At the end, all this is done for the lowest income children, which are the majority in our society, are able to get where our other kids are. So we hope that in the near future, they have the same opportunities.
Thank you so much. Alejandro Echeverri, Sergio Fajardo, the winners of the 2009 Curry Stone Design Prize.